Then moving through our eligibility criteria, we'll highlight any changes that have been made. There are no significant changes this year, so it should be pretty easy. We'll move on to administration of the scholarship, describing what your responsibilities are as a facilitator, the Flux software, and give you a rough scholarship timeline with important dates just to help you all stay on track. And throughout the presentation, we'll be referencing the scholarship materials that will be provided to you. I'm shooting for the second or third week of March, just solidifying some of our scholarship documents. And I'm ready for the next slide. All right, again, my name is Jasmine Stevenson. I'm a program officer with the State Employees Credit Union Foundation. In June, I will have been with the foundation for 3 years. Previously, I worked in the financial aid office at Durham Tech, so it's really a pleasure to still be servicing the community college base. A lot of you I've met over the years, so it's awesome to still be working with you, and I really appreciate you all's assistance in facilitating the program. And just a bit of background, not, go back, I'm sorry. And just a bit of background about the foundation. The foundation was created in 2004. So last year, several of you may have gotten invites to some of our awesome 20th anniversary events. So thank you so much if you all were able to come out. We really appreciated it. The foundation, again, 20-year anniversary last year, and we focused on four different categories for our grant and scholarship making. We do healthcare, human services, housing, and education. So lots of you may have seen some of our larger capital grants across the state, such as our hospice houses, teacher housing, some of our autism centers as well. So thank you so much, all of you. I'm sure most of you are members. So that $1 that is taken out of your checking account every month goes directly to the foundation, and we pour that back into all 100 counties in North Carolina. Last year, we were able to garner over $20 million just from those $1 fees every month. The $1 may not seem like a lot, but we're actually able to just do so much across the state. Again, thank you so much for your membership. And just a few things to go over regarding the 2023-2024 program year. We, of course, committed our normal $585,000 commitment to you all. We awarded 108 scholarships last 8 years, so I'm super excited about that. We got almost all of them out, so thank you, thank you, thank you. And also just a few stats, well, a very important stat, about 50% of our recipients are first generation. So we found that last year. So thank you so much again. Pictured here, you'll see the um, not check, small check presentation from Lenore Community College and Bladen Community College. If you have not had the opportunity to recognize your recipients, please let me know. I can always connect you all with your local branch. We want to make sure that we're recognizing our students and giving our branch staff an opportunity to come out and speak. And for the People Helping People Scholarship, just for those who are unaware, this is intended for students seeking a 2-year degree at one of the 58 community colleges. The scholarship is eligible for up to $5,000. It's paid over 4 semesters. And since its inception, we've actually been able to award over $11 million to our community college students. So we're super excited about that. And we'll go to the next page. All right, and here you will see the People Helping People scholarship eligibility criteria. This is the flyer that we will be using this year. It shows that the scholarship will go live in March. So again, we'll have a few more weeks, and I'll make sure that we send out that packet information to everyone. The People Helping People eligibility criteria outlines our requirements for all recipients selected for the scholarship. This is the flyer for the current year. You'll receive it in March. Please, please, please use this flyer, post it in your schools, on your school websites, on your social media as well. And just to go over the criteria quite briefly, again, the scholarship is valued at $5,000, awarded over 4 consecutive semesters to pay for tuition fees, course supplies, and transportation. whenever we'll get to it in a bit, but sometimes students are not enrolled for a semester, just please let us know. We will honor students for payments in certain situations. Just make sure that you let me know. Applicants must be full-time students who are high school graduates or have completed their GED program. We want them to be enrolled in an associate degree, diploma, or certificate program, and we do require a minimum GPA of 2.5 or higher. One thing that I do want to definitely point out, enrolled in an associate degree, diploma, or certificate program, most of our recipients that we receive are in fact enrolled in associate's degrees. We do ask that you give priority to those applicants, only because we want to maximize the payment. Unfortunately, right now, we are unable to transfer any remaining payments to another community college or to a 4-year if they transfer. So if a student hypothetically is in a diploma program and it only takes them 1 or 2 semesters to complete their program, then the funds just go unused. I'm unable to send it for another student. It just simply goes unused. So if we could prioritize associate's degree students, that would be awesome. If not, we're happy to send that scholarship money to any student that is in need that you all find eligible. The Community College Scholarship Selection Committee will make the final decision on recipients from the college. Your selection committee does need to have at least 3 folks, so it'll be 2 awards for 2 new recipients. Each payment is $1,250. Preference may be given to students with limited financial aid and other programs whose parents, guardians, and family members are public sector employees. Just things to keep in mind. Students should demonstrate leadership, excellence of character, integrity, and community involvement. And students selected have identified financial need through the submission of a FAFSA form. We do not ask for EFCs from their FAFSA. I can't pull their ISERs, so please just use your best judgment on that. Totally aware that there are a lot of changes in the FAFSA world right now. So again, just use your best judgment. We definitely prioritize students that have expressed financial need by completing the FAFSA. Next slide. All right, and we want to go over a few scholarship program reminders just as a refresher. The foundation will distribute a total of 116 scholarships for the 25-26 award year, valued at $5,000. Each of the 58 community colleges will be able to award up to 2. A single $5,000 award cannot be split up between students. The scholarship is payable at $1,250 per semester for 4 consecutive semesters. Again, we do make health exceptions or military exceptions. So if there's anything a little wonky, again, just let me know. And again, the scholarship is to be awarded to students who are high school graduates or have completed their GED and are full-time enrolled at one of the North Carolina community colleges. Next slide, please. You can click a few times for me. All right, so what is your role as a facilitator throughout this process? The SECU Foundation People Helping People Scholarship Administrator role includes the following responsibilities. You're going to be, can you go back for me? All right, so you're going to be communicating all updated selection processes and 25-26 materials with your selection committee. You'll be ensuring that the scholarship is advertised to incoming and returning students. Example, making sure the scholarship information is posted on the college website, sent through emails, and shared with student advisors, helping students register. Please, whenever you have students coming into your financial aid offices and they are complaining about needing money, please implore them to apply for this scholarship. Establishing a scholarship selection committee to determine final selection of scholarship winner or winners for your college. We'll go over the selection committee in a moment. You'll be communicating final selections with the SECU Foundation, and the foundation will verify that each recipient chosen has submitted all required materials and meets the GPA eligibility before confirming the selection with the college. You'll also be serving as the point of contact for scholarship-related questions for interested candidates, and the SECU Foundation will direct students back to community college for questions about processes or deadlines. A lot of the times, students will reach out to us directly. Um, I will try to answer questions to the best of my ability. I know every single school has their own internal deadline, so I'll likely just forward them back to you so that you all can assist. Next slide. And some other selection considerations. SECU Foundation asks that preference be given to students who have identified, again, financial need through the submission of the FAFSA form, not asking them to submit their forms for EFC numbers, and the student application asks the students to answer yes or no to the following two questions. Have you submitted your FAFSA, and have you demonstrated financial need? Your responsibility is only to confirm that they indicated yes in response to submitting the FAFSA in order to meet the requirement. And you'll see that on the student data form as well. Preference may be given to students whose parents, guardians, or family members are public sector employees living and working in North Carolina. Public sector includes state, local, or federal government, public health, and public education. There is a spot on the student data form for that as well. And it is super duper important to note that SEC membership is not a requirement for this scholarship. So whereas the high school $10,000 scholarship that is intended for the 16 public North Carolina universities, there is SECU membership for that scholarship. However, membership is not required for the community college scholarship. And in addition, we ask that preference may be given to students with limited financial aid from other programs. The student application for the People Helping People Scholarship simply allows us to gain more insight into the scholarship recipient's background and future plans. Included in the application are community involvement short answer questions. And since the purpose of the scholarship is to recognize leadership, integrity, and community involvement in addition to academic achievement, we're asking students to complete the questions by highlighting ways that they have contributed to their community. The short answer questions calls for examples of community service and leadership. This must be completed as part of the application to be considered for the scholarship. A lot of times students will try to skip this. We do need them to complete these short answer questions whenever we schedule the recognition events and we notify your local branch. We do provide them with the student data forms, and they definitely look forward to reading those questions just so they'll have a little bit of insight on the students before meeting them. All right, next slide. All right, and we're going to go over required scholarship material. So you can click once or twice. And can you click one more time for me? Perfect, thank you. When submitting the scholarship recipient package to the foundation, the community college must be sure to include all of the following. The recipient's completed student data form and community involvement short answer questions. The community college scholarship selection committee must submit a prepared letter signed by all committee members and naming the recipients. If you all need examples of that, I can definitely include that in the packet that email as well. The selection letter must be submitted on your community college's letterhead. We cannot accept selection letters on your office or department's letterhead. So we don't want to see Catawba Valley Financial Aid. It just would need to be Catawba Valley's general letterhead. We do require that the consent form be signed and dated by the student and parent guardian if the student is younger than 18. The consent form allows the use of their names and images for press releases to the local news media, as well as within SECU and SECU Foundation. We do not require that students send in photos whenever they do their application. However, we love to see them. So if there's some beautiful headshots that students want to provide, feel free to send it to us and we can always feature them on our social media sites. And next. All right. So about the selection committee and selection letter, this is super important. So each community college is required to create a scholarship selection committee comprised of 3 or more members who will make the final decision on scholarship recipients for the college. Your community college selection committee is responsible for administering, advertising, and selecting the 2 new recipients based on the eligibility criteria provided. And once the students submit their scholarship materials, the selection committee will review and make a final determination of which 2 students will be awarded the scholarship at your respective college. A written statement identifying the community college's chosen recipients, again, must be signed by all committee members. If you have questions about it, let me know. I know that that is new to some people, but again, I will include an example within the materials sent out. Next slide. Alrighty, so selection submission deadlines. SCCU Foundation has set a deadline of August 4th, 2025, by which scholarship selections must be submitted electronically for review of material completion. However, it is highly recommended that each financial aid office slash selection committee set an internal deadline for applicants to turn in the materials for committee so that you all have time to make your final selection to submit to us. Students should not be notified that they have been selected as a recipient until the foundation has verified that all materials have been received and that eligibility criteria has been met. And once the foundation has notified the selection committee that the recipients meet the criteria, then the students may be informed. The scholarship selection committee will need to advise the foundation of the dates and time of the award ceremony that represent so that a representative of your local credit union branch and an SECU advisory board member may be in attendance to present a certificate of award to the recipients at the awards day. If you all don't have the information at the time that you submit your recipients, you can just shoot me an email and I'll make sure that updated on my side. And at the bottom of the first page of the application, you'll see the section where you can input the award ceremony, date, time, and location. And it'll also require that you input it on Flux. And next slide. All right, so for fall 2025 submission, again, we will be using our grant portal Flux. And I wanted to send a thank you to everyone for being so gracious with the platform onboarding last year. There were a few kinks. You all were awesome. It seems like everyone was able to get on board pretty quickly. So I really appreciate that, especially you all's patience and you all's continuance to give us patience on that. So most of you have logged into the system and submitted rosters and applications. So there's some familiarity already established with the software. I know that we have some new folks. If we need to do any one-on-ones, just let me know. I can always set up something separate, but I do send out materials with step-by-steps. It's pretty easy to follow, but if not, again, let me know. So if anyone wants to follow along, you may if you want to log into your Flux, but they'll be sending this out as well. So you'll begin by logging into your Flux account and you'll see draft applications in the sidebar. So this is how you're going to submit your 2 recipients in the fall. So whenever you log in, you'll see draft applications. I have it highlighted in yellow in the sidebar, and there will be 1 application per community college. Please see the draft application option, then press edit to input the recipient information. So it'll have like recipient 1, recipient 2. Next slide, please. All right, so you're going to check the primary contact information and update if necessary. So if you know you're the point of contact right now, but someone else is going to be it, you can go ahead and tell me there. I'll see it and then I can switch it over. So you'll also please input the college president, financial aid director, and again, the award ceremony details. Skip the ceremony details if you don't have it, and then you'll input basic personal demographic and program information for both recipients. In the event that you only have 1 recipient, please put NA in the fields for the second recipient. Don't leave it blank. Just put NA in all the fields. And next slide. All right, so this is also on Flux. Whenever you scroll down, after you put in your recipient information, it will ask for additional scholarship details. So it will ask for the funding that you are requesting. The scholarship is $5,000 per student. So if you're only submitting us one recipient, you just put 5,000 in the field. If you are in fact submitting two recipients, please input 10,000. If you do not input the right amount, I will send it back and ask you to edit it just so everything, all the numbers will add up on our side. After you input the funding request, you're going to upload all the required documents that are featured with the blue checks, the blue plus signs, the student data form, the scholarship selection committee letter, the consent forms. I will also add an option for you all to submit any updated wire information. Um, just to make sure that I have the most updated wire information for all of our schools. If you all are not interested in receiving wire, you can just leave it blank and we'll do a check. So after you upload all of the required documents using the blue plus signs, you'll click save and close, and you should be able to see that highlighted in blue at the bottom. And then please don't forget to press submit after you click save and close. Very often, folks will input the information into Flux, save and close, and then I never get it, and then it's just sitting there. So please don't forget to click submit. A comprehensive email that includes the screenshots and notes will be provided, as well as the materials again within a few weeks. So super easy. I know most of you that do scholarships probably use Flux or a similar software system. All right, so having discussed scholarship criteria and implementation, let's take a look at a general timeline that we just created to give you an opportunity to start thinking about how you'd like to set up the program at your community college and just to help y'all stay on track. So we're in February now, webinar, check. We've got that done. Thank you so much for your attendance as well. Whenever you do your application, it will ask if you attended. So thank you so much. You can check off that box. So from March to April, each school should establish a selection committee and create a process for choosing the recipients at your college. I know all 58, you all do your scholarships differently. Some schools are still doing the paper application. Some are doing like a general application online. So whatever method to the madness works for your institution, that's perfectly fine with us. And if your school has not already begun this process, please do so as soon as possible. Again, you can start in March whenever I send out everything. And please refer to the eligibility criteria and the operating procedures during this process. By the end of April, your college will want to communicate your process with applicable departments and student advisors, just so you all can have, some good support. Please make sure that you share the eligibility criteria, application, consent form, and the flyer with the people directly advertising and sharing this scholarship with your students. That way it's just a lot easier, so you're not trying to scramble and find, recipients late into the summer. So the more people you all share it with, the easier it'll be to get some good quality applicants. From April to May through June, your school should then begin receiving scholarship applications from students. As mentioned previously, each school should have a date by which all student applications must be received in order to submit to the selection committee to make selections and then submit to us. In July, the scholarship selection committees at each college will select two new scholarship recipients to receive the award, and your college should again have the recipients decided before the August 5th deadline. If you need an extension for whatever reason, please let me know. We do understand so many things occur. So if you all need an extension, just reach out to me. We are pretty flexible about that. We just want to make sure that our funding is getting out to our students. That is our main focus. August 4th is the deadline for recipient submission to the foundation. Your college will submit the recipient's full scholarship packet via Flux to the foundation, who will then verify all of the materials as we discussed. Again, please do not announce the recipients until SCCU has confirmed that the above criteria is met. Sometimes we'll receive recipients and we'll find some information and realize that they're not actually eligible. So just make sure that you get that approved email from Flux before you let the students know. And just as a recap, the full scholarship packet includes the student data form with short answer questions, a signed consent form, and we will also need a signed community college selection committee statement verifying their choice of recipients. I hope I didn't throw too much at everyone. Again, I'd like to thank you for participating and facilitating the administration of the SECU Foundation People Helping People Scholarship. Your involvement definitely ensures the program's success. I've enjoyed meeting all of you, and hopefully, I get to meet some of the new faces as well. And if you have any additional questions or concerns after the webinar, please feel free to contact me directly. At my email shown, or you can email the general SECU Foundation inbox as well. Thank you so much for your time. 10:30, not too bad.
Thank you so much, Ms. Stevenson, for sharing information with us today regarding the 25-26 State Employee Credit Union Foundation People Helping People Scholarship. Now, what we want to do is open it up for just a few minutes to see if there are any questions. If you have questions, you can certainly unmute yourselves and ask Ms. Stevenson, or you can put them in the chat. And as she had said, you may want to, if you think of any questions after the call today, I'm sure that she will take those questions from you directly. So we're going to give you a few minutes to a few seconds to unmute yourselves and ask any questions that you have of Ms. Stevenson. Okay, no questions. I'm seeing thank yous from across the state. So again, thank you, Ms. Stevenson. We are going to move along to Ms. Shannon Jones. She represents Inceptia Incorporated as the Associate Vice President of Business Development, and she has some important information to share with us this morning as it relates to loans and your CDR. A lot of us think that because we're not doing loans that, you know, we don't have a responsibility here, but we do. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Shannon Jones.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Oh, I love the thumbs. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you to Miss Brenda Burgess for allowing me to have this time with you guys. I hate I can't see all of your faces, but I'm going to be very brief, but this is very important. I work for Inceptia. I'm Shannon Jones, and we're a not-for-profit. So we have things that we have to do to keep our charter that are free. So you get to benefit as the school. So what I'm going to talk about just for a minute, you can go to the next slide. I'm going to talk about how you can find out what your delinquency rate is. Default rate is not set in stone until the 3 years has passed. But right now, all 3 open cohort years do have a delinquency rate. Aren't you curious to know what's happening with these students that have now gone back into repayment? So you should have just gotten a 0 CDR rate for your 22 CDR year. We'll say goodbye to that last draft 0 because there won't be any more zeros. So this is what we've been talking about for years, right? 3-4 years we've been talking about what's going to happen. So if you'll scan the QR code, if you are interested in doing this, this is really quick, and I guarantee you won't regret doing it. It'll also give you some ammunition you may need to get your administration on board with moving forward and doing something now to prevent high default rates later. So scan that QR code. I'll give you a second to do that. And then we'll go to the next page. And at the top there, you'll see I highlighted, create your free delinquency report. That is what you're going to click on. After you click on that, next slide, it takes you to this wonderful page. I only have a snippet of it, but it reminds all of us, because it's been a minute, it reminds all of us what the sanctions are for having high CDR rates at the different levels. So you'll want to read that information or print it out and give it to your administrators, because again, they want to be upset when they have a high CDR rate. Well, now is the time to do something about that. So if you'll fill out the information there on the right, all you have to do, and you'll get an email with instructions on how to pull your NSLDS report. Make sure you do it in fixed width. That makes a big difference. So what will happen then is I will contact you and set up 10 minutes to go over the report, which will show you 23, 24, and 25 open cohort years. I've done this with a couple of schools in North Carolina already, and they were glad they did it. So just know that this is free. I'm here to answer questions. A lot of people are still really confused about going back into repayment. A lot of them don't think they have gone back into repayment. So it's been real interesting to listen to student phone calls. Also at inceptia.org, we have a FAFSA toolkit that's free that you can customize with your school logo. And also, I'm doing presentations at schools, and it can be virtual. I call them information sessions, because everybody's tired of talking about webinars, right? So I do information sessions for school staff to help them get up to speed on where we are with CDR rates, with the repayment plans. It seems like you can't open the news in the morning without something new coming out about student loans or the repayment plans or the servicers, or all three at the same time. So you don't have time to keep up with that. I get paid to keep up with that. So please utilize me as a resource for you and your staff. I'm more than happy to help anytime that I can. Again, this is all free materials. And I did have one more thing to tell you. Okay, I know there's 58 schools, and 2 of you have already done this. So I'm not going to count those 2. So I'm going to give 5. I'm going to go ahead and give the 2 that have already done it a Starbucks card. It's just a little small one. And the first 5 of you who actually take advantage of this and make it to the report section, I will send you a Starbucks card after I go over your report with you. So just a little incentive there, something fun. We can't do much fun anymore, but just something kind of fun to do. And one last thing that I want to leave you with that I thought was very interesting this morning. I get a little inspirational message every morning from Inceptia. And today is about popcorn. And it says, popcorn, it is prepared in the same pot, same heat, same oil, and yet popcorn kernels don't all pop at the same time. So don't waste time comparing yourselves to other people. Your time to pop will come. So I think I'm going to print that out and put it on my desk, because you know what? Some days we have popping days and some days we don't. So I just want to thank Ms. Burgess for allowing me to be here today. I'm going to put my email and one other link in the chat that is a little flip book. It's a book that talks all about CDR rates, because I know if you need something to go to sleep at night, you'll be able to read that and love it. So thank you so much again. I look forward to seeing who the first 5 are who make it in. And you guys are great. You're doing a great job. And I look forward to seeing all of you really soon at the North Carolina Conference. Thank you.
Shannon, before you leave, a couple of them have asked that I go back a couple slides to the QR code. So give them, I'm going to ask that you give them a couple more minutes to just be able to get that QR code. And while we're waiting for them to do the QR code, just like to open it up for questions. If anybody has any questions, certainly ask Ms. Jones at this time, or continue to put your comments and questions in the chat for us. Okay. Has everybody got the QR code? Lots of thank yous in the chat today for you, Ms. Jones, and we really appreciate that. And that was just what we needed this morning, because at the end of the day, beginning of the day, middle of the day, we all pop.
Amen. Let's just don't all pop together, because that might be a little scary.
That's right. That is right. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. So
They know
we're
where to
going-
find me.
Exactly. Your contact information is right here on the screen, and they can certainly reach out to you via email and or by phone. So thank you, Shannon.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Dr. Wanda White is going to share some information with us today regarding Golden Leaf, our wonderful community college scholarship program. We are before Dr. White takes the mic, just want to see if our representatives from the Golden Leaf Foundation are on the line. Ms. Arlena Donjali and Jacqueline Smith. If they're not on the phone, certainly want to thank them for all that they do for us, our 58 community colleges, in making sure that we have the funding that we need to be able to support our students. Don't see that they're on the call today, so Dr. Wanda White.
Good morning, everyone. I am going to be fairly brief this morning. I do want to share a few reminders about the Golden Leaf program. I think it's important that every time we have a financial aid community meeting, that we share some of these reminders with you. I think that colleges are doing very well with getting your reports into me, but we also have just a few from time to time that forget to provide some information. So I want to talk about that. I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but I do want to remind you that we are still monitoring the Golden Leaf expenditures for the 24-25 year. And I want to encourage each of you to go out to the Golden Leaf website dashboard at least once a month. It's very important that if you send in a report to us for reimbursements, that you go out to the Golden Leaf dashboard, indicate your college name, the year 24-25, and look at your expenditures. The expenditures of the funds that have been reimbursed to you, and also look at your total awards. I want to remind you to make sure that if you are awarding Golden Leaf funds to students during a month and you're reimbursing those students through your college funds, that you need to request those funds through our monthly reports. If for some reason that you award students, reimburse them in a month, and forget to do a monthly report, then you need to submit your reimbursement request the next month. And that report should be submitted using the dates of the month that you're sending the report in. For example, if you awarded students in January and your college reimbursed those students in January, but you didn't send in a January reimbursement report, then you need to do a report in February, and it needs to be for the February 25 month Golden Leaf request. And for each one of your reports, as we've said in the past, that you need to include your financial aid administrator or the person that's completing the report. You need to include their name on the report along with your designated business officer. You can also include a signature, but if you don't include a signature, then definitely we need the name of those individuals in the financial aid office that's responsible for completing the report, as well as your business officer who verifies that these funds have been reimbursed to students. Also want to make sure from time to time, I get a few schools that forget to include your password protection. We want to make sure that you include a password for your reports that you send in. If you don't send one in, I'll just remind you, gently remind you to send in those passwords so that we can protect your data. If your passwords have not been submitted or your reports have not been totaled, then your reports are incomplete. So you'll receive a notification from me. Also want to make sure that you're paying attention to the CE COVID 105 awards that are no longer available, as well as the CU Golden Leaf COVID 104 awards. They're no longer available to students. We can't remove them off the dashboard. We want to make sure that colleges are paying attention to that. And the reason that I'm mentioning it is because we have had some schools to mistakenly code students as CE 105 and CU 104. And so we want to make sure that you correct those and pay attention to that as well. Also, be very familiar with the ineligible counties. A lot of times when we find out about your awards for ineligible counties, we find that out on your interim reports, and we'll send a notification back to the colleges just asking that you make those corrections. So to ensure that you don't have to make any corrections, we just ask that you look over your reports before you submit them to the community college system office. Also, in addition to that information that I just shared, I want to make sure that we go over to our calendar and just look at where we are in terms of disbursements. So disbursements to colleges. We are now in the month of February. So those of you who have awarded students, Golden Leaf students in February and reimbursed them and have not yet requested reimbursement on the February 25 monthly template, we ask that you go ahead, complete your reports, and get them in to us by February 28th. So that date is Friday. So it's very important. Also, if you submitted a report and you're required to make corrections on that report, I ask that you go ahead and send that report in, make those corrections. Corrections are usually signatures that are missing, or they could be totals that aren't there, or it could be that you haven't entered the month of February as your reimbursement date. So all of those things are important. So if I send those reports back to you, you need to get them back to me as soon as possible, and certainly by noon on February the 28th. That is our deadline for the February report. It doesn't mean that we're not going to reimburse you. It just means that if you reimburse, your college reimburse someone for February, and you submit that and you don't submit the report, it just means that when you request reimbursement for those students, you have to do it for the month of March, because March is going to be our next month, and those reports are due March 31st. But our goal with the colleges is to ensure that you get your reimbursement requests into us as soon as possible, so that we can get your funds back to you, to your business office, so that your college is reimbursed. Currently, we have, after the month of February, we have the month of March. The date for your report is March 31st. We have April 25th. The date of your report is April 30th, the date that is due, and May, when your date is May 30th, 2025. We are encouraging, as we've done in the past, all colleges to try to make all of their awards by May 30th. Even though you have until June 30th to spend your money, what we found in previous years is that when colleges submit their reports late, that a lot of times those funds aren't reimbursed to the college by June 30th. And so we want to make sure you get it. So we're encouraging you to do that. I know some of you have summer school and may award the students in summer school. If there's a way for you to at least make the awards early, then we can get those funds to you by June 30th. And let's move on to the next slide. The other thing that I want to talk about very briefly is interim reports. The interim reports are very, very important. We just received the January interim reports in early January. And many of you, I would say, one half of you sent your interim reports in, and some of you by the due date, and some of you sent them in earlier. I would like to request that whatever the due date, that the interim report is due, to ensure that we don't get your interim reports mixed up with your monthly reports, that you send the interim reports in around the due date that we requested. We encourage you that if you have awarded all of your money and your interim reports are complete, which would include all of your templates from September through May or June, it's fine to include those on your interim report, but make sure that you send all of that in on the due date. Your monthly reports should come in monthly. What has happened in a few incidents is that some colleges have completed their interim reports, sent them in, and on those same templates included a monthly report that wasn't indicated on the report when it was sent in. The interim report would have been sent in as the fall 24 interim report. The monthly report should come in as monthly reports indicating the month. And that way we don't get confused and we don't miss reimbursing a college. And I just wanted to remind all of you of that. The next report, the next spring interim report is due for the period of January the 1st, 2025 through May 15th, 2025. And this report is due on May 16th. So those of you, and I'll say there are a few colleges that have awarded all of their money. If you've awarded all of your money and you've completed your interim report and you've included, make sure that your interim reports match all of your awards that you made from the period of January 1st, 2025 through May 15th, 2025. It has to add up because when we send the interim reports into Golden Leaf, that's what they're going to be expecting. And if something is missing or if it doesn't match up, then we'll be reaching back out to you. So I just wanted to provide those tidbits to you to ensure that we have a smooth processing for the spring interim reports. And then, of course, your final cumulative report for 24-25 is not due until September 30th, 2025. So we don't even have to talk about that now. It's just that the January 1st through 2025 through May 15th interim report is not due until May. So just put that on your calendar. It's due May 16th. Don't send it in early. Put it in a file, save it, and when we send that notice out telling you to send in those reports, you can start sending them then. And that is all I have to share with you. Just make sure that you look at the templates that are on your, that you send in the appropriate template for your Golden Leaf reimbursement, and just make sure that you include the month that you are requesting your reimbursements. And last thing that I would say is that we are updating the Golden Leaf dashboard every month. We're doing the updates after the colleges have been reimbursed. So you can take a look at the payment scale, the date that the business office is scheduled to reimburse the college, your funds, your business office, and maybe check the dashboard, I would say a week after that. And if you check it a week after that, then your expenditures should be updated, and any funds that you have awarded to students should show up. The main thing that I want to make sure that you're doing is recording your awards in Colleague. We've had situations in the past where colleges have forgot to record their awards in Colleagues, and it's a mismatch. But that's the last thing that I wanted to share with you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, reach out to Brenda. I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to pause and end. And I would just say for all of you, if you have questions, just shoot me an email. Thank you.
If you have any questions about your Golden Leaf scholarship payments for any periods that you have submitted your monthly reports, please don't wait until June 30 to reach out to Dr. White or myself. Also, before I start with the updates, just want to let you all know that we are in the process of renewing our application for the Golden Leaf Community College Scholarship for 25-26. Just so you know, we do have to apply for these funds every year. And they are so gracious that we have gone from, when I can remember years ago, about 750,000 to now we are over 2,035,000 in student scholarships. So just keep that in mind, as you know, some of our other funding sources are, you know, kind of going to be maybe canceled or are kind of in limbo. The Golden Leaf Foundation still exists and still wants to help our students who are attending North Carolina community colleges. So this year we're probably going to ask for a little bit more, but we want to make sure that you all are spending all that you have, and that you are also requesting, after you have paid your students, that you are requesting reimbursement to reimburse your college for the institutional monies that you have paid out to students. But thank you for all that you do for the Golden Leaf Foundation, as well as for the community college system and for students who are attending your schools. So we've got a few minutes left, so I'm going to breeze through the updates that I have. You all know by now that the financial value, transparency, and gainful employment reporting deadline has been extended to September 30th of 2025. Any data that you submitted through February 17th of 2025 has already been returned to you or should have been returned to you in a draft status. We encourage you to use this time to carefully review your data, work with other offices on your campus, not limited to the registrar's office, institutional effectiveness, or whoever else can help you clear these errors and prepare for the September 30th deadline. Also, I can't stress enough, if you have questions, it looks like you've got some errors, any questions that you have about it, please submit a ServiceNow request. You'll submit it through financial aid, and if it needs to go to another avenue, it will certainly be disseminated. And we want to be able to help you as much as possible to make sure that the data that you are submitting is correct and is submitted on time. The deadline for campus-based awarding closeout and reconciliation is March 3rd. That is next Monday. So it's imperative that the electronic announcement that went out about a week or so ago, that you share that with your business office and that you are looking back at your FISAP that you submitted on September 30th to make sure that your awards and their drawdowns match, because there will not be any exceptions for you to go in and make any corrections. If your amounts don't match and your drawdowns don't match what you have awarded, those funds will be de-obligated and you will not be able to get them back. So want to make sure that you are definitely paying attention to that and sharing that information with your business office. Also, the 25-26 FAFSA, of course, you all know by now that the president's executive order caused an update for question 11. And question 11 relates to the sex or the gender of our students. So now the only options for our students is either to select male or female, no binary or unable to answer. Those line items no longer exist. So for any students that submitted a FAFSA prior to the February 14th deadline and are not selected for verification, no corrections are required. However, if a student goes in and makes a correction, they're going to be forced to make to answer that question appropriately. For more information on that, and I'm pretty sure that you all are keeping up with the electronic announcements, but I did attach the link for that particular announcement so that you can just read it in full detail. All right. The other day, I think the 24-25 Pell Grant administrative cost allowance payments are currently being processed as of February 18th. So colleges are receiving your first payment in the amount of $5 per Pell Grant student. You're receiving that. This administrative cost allowance, of course, is based on an unduplicated head count of students and excludes all student records who are rejected or ineligible, and those records that are accepted in COD, but an actual disbursement has not been received. So you want to make sure that you are checking your Pell rejects and also your multiple records reports regularly. And also, I encourage you to share this information with your business office as well, because included in that electronic announcement were some instructions on how your business office would draw those funds down. And I think we all know that it is very imperative that we are, communicating with each other and drawing down those funds as quickly as we can. To prevent it being frozen or held up for any reason. But I also want to encourage you to make sure that you are kind of looking at your records as well to make sure, because $5 doesn't sound like a lot of money, but if you've got 1,000 students, that's a lot of money. 500 students, that's a lot of money. So every dollar counts. And just know that, those funds can be used for multiple purposes. Included in that electronic announcement are allowable uses for your administrative cost allowance. And just for our state grant programs, the targeted assistance and less than half-time grant, I know that those funds went out a little bit later than normal, and it's only $550,000. But, in times such as these, our students need every dollar that there is available. So want to just encourage you to please, 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 let's not send a dollar back this year. It is getting increasingly harder to explain to our state board why we're even sending a dollar back. So use those monies, look at your low enrollment, high demand programs and, identify students that could use the monies. Back in 2015 or so, I believe it was, we kind of looked at the language and the programming, and you can use all of your allowance for target assistance, those high demand, low enrollment programs, or you can use all of your money for students who are enrolled less than half time. So there doesn't have to be an equal split or anything. You use that money as best it fits your institution. And I know I'm going over because there are some individuals on this call that are part of the ERP banner initiative. So if you've got to leave, I certainly understand. The recording will go out to you. Same with the 24-25 Child Care Grant Program. Those funds need to be expended by June 30 of 2025. It is super, super, super imperative that you're looking at your funding, that you are being creative and thinking outside the box and fully utilizing that money. The past couple years, we've sent back close to or over $500,000. And our state board is continuing to ask questions as to why our colleges are not able to spend these funds when we have students who, of course, have children that are in childcare, individual providers. Let's think about ways from February to the end of June or by June 30th that we can expend $3 million in child care grant funds. We know that the cost of child care has gone up. So, if you had a set amount, and I'm just throwing out examples that you were actually providing to students, and I'm going to say $500, we know that, a student can easily use all of that in a month. So think of ways that you can use that. I did ask our colleges to let me know how much you had expended so far. And based on the responses that I received, we've not even spent $1 million. So it's a little scary, but just want to encourage you to use those monies. Quickly moving on to the early graduate scholarship program. Many of you saw that was approved in the 23-25 biennium budget. Of course, the scholarship was supposed to be geared to students who graduated from a North Carolina public high school within 3 years of entering the 9th grade. The program was to be implemented in the 25-26 year, with SIA as the administrator. As of right now, the funding is still pending, and SIA, along with the system office, we are continuing to monitor this, and we'll provide updates as soon as they are available. So it's not completely off the table. It is just pending right now, pending funding. So as soon as we know more about it, we'll certainly get that information out to you. And quickly, I provided, we selected about 20 colleges a few weeks ago to participate in a financial aid climate survey. Of those 20 that were selected, we got responses back from 7. So I want to thank those 7 who actually responded and shared your thoughts and gave us good feedback on the current financial climate. We will continue to monitor these results. We're actually going to possibly identify another group and send the survey out again, because we want to help you as much as possible here at the system office, but we can't help you if we don't know how and don't know where to start. So again, thank you to those 7 colleges that responded. We will be reaching out to additional schools to gauge our climate and see how we can help as a system. And lastly, for me, the Financial Aid Leadership Academy plans are well underway. We've received lots of interest, and we've been working with the GTCC Conference Center. They have always been so gracious to provide us with a space to host this academy. So thank you, GTCC, for your hospitality. As soon as we get some numbers back from them, we will be reaching out to you all to see who's interested and to also have the applications. We're looking at possibly starting as early as May, and it will last over probably a period of 6 months and finish in December of 2025, along with a graduation. So again, that's all that I have for the day. And I do apologize that we took about 9 more minutes of your time, but we want to thank you all for all that you do. And as Shannon said, we all pop. We pop differently, but at the end of the day, we all pop. We're in this thing together, and just continue to do the best that you can with all that you have to work with for our students who are attending our fabulous 58 North Carolina community colleges. Thank you for your time and for your attention today. Enjoy the rest of your day.